Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're good. So I've got a very special guest. I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan. Thank you so much, Ryan, for joining me today. I know we've planned about doing this for a little while, but I'm really excited to have you on. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for the invite. And I'm looking forward to the chat because obviously I get to chat both sides of the
Yeah.
Arsenal spectrum. It's very from the Arsenal point of view, from an Arsenal YouTube point of view, it's very rare to have that opportunity on other channels these days.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah. I mean, it'll be good to chat a bit about both. I mean, I'll start off with the men's because I know it's not the best, and we'll jump onto the women's team because we're doing much better now. But obviously, at the moment, it's international break, and I think a lot of us, are enjoying that break from Arsenal. But I know at the moment we're not doing awful, but we're not doing great. We're not really getting the wins that we need to be getting, for the league. And what would you say the reason that is? Do you think it's injuries, or do you think it's other things that's causing us those problems?
it's a mix of everything. Really, we've had 3 stupid red cards this season. No matter what we think of the officiating in general, for them incidences and
Yeah,
what we've seen elsewhere outside of our games as well, no matter what we think, there's still stupid red cards. Still stupid red cards to be given. Then we've had Moreno turn up, get injured on day one of training from a Gabriel challenge. Ricardo's not been fully fit. He's in and out. I think he's coming. He's on the verge of coming back. Timber gets a bit of run and he gets another setback. Ben White's been playing with an injury, as we know, since Man City. He's had to play through the pain. We now know he's having surgery.
yeah,
We haven't had our captain, the only creative player that we know of in terms of from our midfield, out for 2 months because the Norway manager overplayed him, and to hell with it, basically. But yeah, it's a bit, as I say, it's just a bit of everything really. That, the suspense, the red cards,
yeah,
the injuries, and then even in going into one of the biggest games since Man City was Liverpool a few weeks ago. We had our second best, we had our best, depending on what way you want to look at it, our best defender out suspended, or second best,
yeah.
what you want to look at it. Our other defender, his partner, on half a foot or half a leg, whatever way you look at that. And it was just, and then about Timber before, he was just coming back from a knock himself. It was just everything. It hasn't boded well for us so far. But there's also, you got to throw in certain moments from the manager in terms of in-game management with
Yeah.
substitutes or just in general his general tactics. But the play, as I say, going back to the obvious bit, the needless red cards. Players have to take responsibility there.
Yeah, that has definitely played a part for me, and I completely agree with you. And I think the injuries, I think everything has all just come at a really bad time for us.
Mm.
Obviously, there are certain games we should really win. But I think with the Chelsea one, I think they're much better this season. That was always going to be tough. But I wanted to read this question because it's a good question from a Liverpool fan. A current piece: do Arsenal still have the faith that they can win the league this season? How are you feeling about that? Do you still think there's a chance we can do it, or are you thinking we should focus on other competitions now?
If we had lost on Sunday, that would have been 10 points because obviously we only got a point. So
Mm,
yeah, so it would have been 10 points behind. I think that would have been too much for us. That's the difference. That point that we got, I think just enough, just about keeps us in it for now because we've got a good run coming
yeah,
league wise anyway. I know it's going to be mixed with the Champions League and all that, which we'll get into in a bit. But we've got a good run of fixtures coming up that are winnable games between now and Man City in February. We've got winnable games in the league. If we can
mhm,
stop all these injuries need to stop as well, and just stop getting silly suspensions and this, that, and the other. If we can focus on doing our job, we showed the start of this year, back into last season, we can put runs together of wins. We can do it.
yeah,
We can be disciplined. We can be professional. It's just about them doing it now. Yes.
mhm,
So as I say, if we'd lost, no, I don't think we would win that. It would be full focus on the cups and going as far as we can in the Champions League. To be honest, it's just getting that point coming out of there. Should have won it really, but getting that point it keeps us in it just about,
yeah,
just about. Because you're asking too much then. If
mm,
it had been 10 or more, you're asking too much of other teams to do you a favour. Why draw then trying to play
yeah,
catch up? It's too much. Whereas effectively 3 wins from our point of view, they can drop a few points. Not saying 3 defeats straight for them, but a few points dropped here, a few points dropped there between now and when we play City later in February. You never know. It could be go from 9 points, could be down to 4-3. Sorry, we don't know. Obviously, it's down to us and what we do. And obviously, Liverpool haven't had the hardship yet
Yeah.
of a injury crisis. Out of 3 clubs in this title race, they haven't had an injury crisis yet. They haven't had any silly red cards from their players, and they've gone out and got the wins they should be getting. Man City have lost their best player, and it's showing now that without him in that midfield,
Yeah,
they're
that's true.
gettable. They are gettable now. And obviously, as I mentioned already, our situation, hence why we're dropping points, why we have been. But hopefully, a few things start coming
Yeah.
together and we can sort of push on there. But we're just about in. But I would say still focused on the cup still, especially Carabao, because obviously in quarterfinals for a decent draw actually. So if we play our cards right, it could be in a semi-final.
Yeah, I think we've got a great chance to win the Carabao Cup. I mean, I think, like you said, I think until it's mathematically impossible, you should always have a bit of hope and believe. I mean, like you said, we have had a very tough run. You've had to play a lot of big teams quite early on, and you can see these injuries, red cards, that's had a part to play. And I think, like you said, the important thing now is we've got to go on a big run. And I think as well, you mentioned about Ben White's injury. He's been playing for an injury. Declan Rice, I think he broke his toe or something like that, and he's obviously been playing through that. And he's had to sort of, they're playing for injuries because we don't really have the options. But with the likes of Ben White, I don't think many of us were surprised that he, has had a surgery. And I think for me, it's obviously a bit of a concern because I know Calafiori and Tomiyasu are set to be back soon. But I think with Tomiyasu, I think he's not really someone you can rely on to be fit when we need him. But how do you think Arsenal can manage, being without Ben White? Because we know how an important player he is in the team.
Again, it depends on it. It does, as you just mentioned, depends on the return of certain players. Obviously, you mentioned Tomiyasu. Lee Dixon once said a couple of years back, the guy's ankles made of biscuits. It's every time
Yeah.
I know there was one injury. There's no way of avoiding it against Sporting Lisbon in the Europa League a couple of seasons ago. That in itself, obviously, you can excuse that. But in between that, he's had little knocks here and there, and every time he comes back, it's the same side of his. It's the same ankle.
Yeah.
There's just needed little things, and you're thinking seriously, how can he be so injury prone suddenly? And then you've got Ricardo. If we can get Ricardo and Timber back, they're the main two. We can get them back and get them match fit, and there's no setbacks for them either side. You've got Ricardo on the left. Timber can convert from the left hand side, where he seems to play mostly when called upon since he's arrived. ACL aside as well. We can get them both back whilst Ben White's out. We won't. I don't think we'll see much of a difference in terms of a drop in levels. It's when you're trying to rely on a Tomiyasu or Zinchenko.
Yeah.
That's when we're asking for trouble still. So we
Yeah.
need them to start getting their fitness and their form going.
Yeah, I agree. It's also hard because sometimes we do have to throw Partey right back, and we much prefer him in that midfield position. But I think unfortunately, we will have to put ourselves in this position when we've got these injuries. But it does seem like Tomiyasu, Calafiori will be back after the break, which will obviously be really good. But obviously, like you said, we've had a very tough time. But with some of the players getting a bit of a rest, how do you feel about after the international break? Do you think the team will be wanting to get back to winning ways, or do you feel like we're still sort of struggling?
I think the fact that obviously I know I'm a bit naff of Norway, by the way, but the fact that we've got Odegaard eventually back
Yeah.
at HQ, he's staying. He's had to come. He's had to fly to Norway, by the way. For anyone that doesn't know, after Sunday's game, He's been flown out to Norway by demand to run tests to see if he'd be able to play. Shockingly, he didn't test well, and then they've flown him back. So in the space of 24 or 48 hours, he's done 2 flights between England and Norway and back again. But he's back now. Do his rehab here. I think that's what I wanted. I wanted that in the first place, just to stay in
Yeah.
London, get your fitness, use these 2 weeks to get your fitness back up and be ready for Forest and Lisbon and all that we've got in the next couple of weeks afterwards. Rice, obviously, but we don't know how severe the actual broken toe is.
Yeah.
But he's not gone. Saka's not gone. We go with certain players, key players, that are going to be a little bit fresher. I see Declan getting a lot of criticism, and I get it in an extent because of the price tag and this, that, and the other, because of what levels he gave last year. But this is a guy that pretty much came in last season, smashed it. Don't get me wrong, he smashed it.
Yeah.
Didn't have a consistent midfield partner all season. The person that was meant to be his midfield partner was injured, doing a Tommy Ashley basically.
Yeah.
He had to deal with Jorginho, El Neni, or whoever they could put alongside him at times. And then he had the same situation in the summer with England the national team. He's anchoring the entire midfield. So naturally, he's absolutely shattered himself and run himself into the ground. He's got no respite, really. What was it, 2 weeks where he was back doing pre-season? So
Yeah, he's
yeah,
had
on
not
his
had much
knees.
time.
So
Yeah.
I think these 2 weeks might do him some good. Not all the good, but some good. And obviously Saka as well. He needs some. We've said for God knows how long he needs rest. He's carried this club. He's carried the country sometimes on his back. So it's going to be, for them three in particular, good to, this international break, to get that respite, get them back to some sort of fitness. There will be, because of Odegaard as well, you would assume there will be a behind closed doors game before the Forest game, just to make sure he's
Yeah.
okay. But it's got, I think that because the attention in terms of the pressure of being favourites 1 week to now not being ruled out of it might be, from the media side of things, I mean, will be interesting to see how the players react, because we saw it last year going into the January winter break that they did last year. We need a striker. Arsenal need this, Arsenal need that, and they haven't got enough. And we just came back from Dubai and went, okay, and we saw the run we went on. And they have to have that attitude again of going, okay, everyone can. It's us against the world mentality. Like George Graham years ago in the Battle of Old Trafford back in the early 90s, before when I was like literally 2 or 3, whatever. Basically, there's that clip goes around Kev Campbell, Merson, and all that in the aftermath. The punishment's been handed out. It's like, it's us against the world. The media are loving this because everyone loves to hate Arsenal. We need to enhance, take that in, and use it as a fuel for us to. And look at what the team did. They went on and almost did it invincible themselves. This team needs to continue having that us against them mentality. And I know there's a lot going on this week with the referees. I don't know if you want to touch on that tonight. There's a lot going on with a certain ref and the whole organisation. I've said before, we have this perception of that lot anyway. Before this whole week kicked off anyway, we can't allow, even before this week, that's them to decide outcomes of our games. We need to go out there and play our game and just advert away from whatever they try to do to us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, like you said, with the referees, I mean, we've had a lot of red cards this season, and I mean, everyone will agree or not agree whether they were, the right decisions. But I think we were sort of playing the referees' hands because they wanted to give us those red cards. So I think if you're on the yellow card, you can help yourself and not get involved in certain situations. But they were definitely harsh decisions for us. But I think for us, we're not getting as many now, and I think we've got to continue to do that, because I know it's at one point in the season we weren't going any games without getting a red card, and I think that's obviously been a big problem we face. But also, I think Liverpool this season, like, I expect Liverpool to get better, and they've obviously had a really good start to the season. But I do agree. I think you can't really kind of rule anything out right now. It's still quite early on, and that's sort of why it's so tough that we're quite far behind from Liverpool. But I do hope things can obviously get better for us. I just wanted to read out a few comments here. We got Ravi. My advice to Arteta is to stop being stubborn and actually get a top striker, because if you're not just going to go around circles. What have you, so far this season, what have you made of Arteta's decisions? Because I know at the moment people question him and not doing well, and that does happen.
Well, like I said before, is like he's got to take some responsibility in game management in terms of subs and tactics and how to adapt to certain situations in games. The only time we've really seen him adapt in a positive, it's a positive in a sense. We've got something out of it either way, but almost an ultimate positive was against City away when we went down to 10. He sacrificed Saka at half time, brought on, and we all know at the time he was injured, but brought on in Ben White. Tactically knew we're away from Manchester City, the champions. We can't go all out. We can't go guns blazing because they will put 4, 5, 6 past us. We need to sit back, soak it up, and do what we can. That's the only time this season I can say he got it spot on in that situation. In a situation that's been given to him in the aftermath of a red card or whatever, he's adapted straight away. He's took his time, gone, and it's almost gave us the ultimate 3 points. But I said back in the last season, we do need an out-and-out striker. We can't just rely on Havertz because Arsene Wenger, in terms of the Emirates era, he had that once Van Persie left, because a lot of people don't know when Van Persie left that summer, it was initially that Giroud was coming in to be his backup, to be the plan B and this, that, and the other. But then Van Persie left, so then Giroud got upgraded straight away to the plan A and only plan. And 3 or 4 years we had Giroud, and Nadoni Giroud it's sort of similar things here where we're screaming out for, we've got a striker, a safe striker, we didn't have it, but we need an out-and-out striker, and one that's going to run the lines, test the defence a lot more than just physically in terms of upper body strength and all that. We've been linked with the lad from Lisbon, Goretzka, I can't pronounce his name, but I'll probably butchered it there. Alexander Isaac, we've been linked with.
Yeah.
For me, them two that's the striker we need, because they're both similar in their own way, but that's the striker we need. Growing up, again, just going because I'm showing my age here, growing up in the early Wenger years, especially the early 2000s, we had Silva and Viator, Bergkamp, Henry, Kanu, all 4 strikers, but all individually different, could give and bring something different to the game, depending on what was needed. We haven't had that since then, really. I mean, we brought in Aubameyang and Lacazette. We got a few seasons out of Aubameyang, and then he's fell off a cliff. We got a season out of Lacazette, and then he fell off a cliff. You can't just win a league. We're not Man City win the league of Haaland because it's Haaland.
Yeah,
he's a goal poaching machine. Sorry, that's why Alvarez left, because he knew he wasn't going to get minutes anyway. He's another one I would have gone for. If he went at City, I would have taken him all day long. But as I say, we haven't got that goal poaching machine. As good as Havertz has been with us, we need our version of Haaland without being Haaland, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think Havertz is enough on his own, really. I mean, there's a good point here about, having Joan Saka, and we know Havertz and Saka. Havertz can score us, a good amount of goals, and Saka can really help us too, but that isn't enough for us. And I think, we've said this for a while as fans, that we've needed a striker. I mean, Aubameyang, I think we should have really replaced Aubameyang. I mean, even Nketiah leaving, we all knew that was the right thing, but we've not really done that replacement. And I think, do you expect us to do anything in January? Because I'm personally not sure. I feel like we'd probably wait until the summer.
I think there will be, because you mentioned, obviously, we know Reece is out online, but we've got the money for Smith Rowe still.
Yeah.
The money for Eddie, as you've mentioned. We've got other bits and pieces as well from players we've either got rid of or somebody, but it was all lastminute.com, sort of the last minute getting them out, hence why Stunning was so last minute himself. That wasn't planned, I can tell you that much. So we've got money there for the winter window, and if Arteta, again, you've got to look at the situation of Edu. Now we know that he's going, or he's technically gone, but he's on gardening leave. The club, the owners, and Arteta need to make a statement this winter, because there's a lot of media in the UK backlash in terms of, could this be the end? Could this be a fallback now? The partnership between Edu and how long is it going to take to replace him? We need to send a message that even though he's no longer with us, we can still move. We can still survive without him. We can still do business even if we're still
Yeah.
looking for someone by then, as I say, focus on what we actually need. Don't just go and get a defender for the sake of getting a defensive
Yeah.
player or whatever. Go and get us a striker. That's all we. A striker or a left wing attacker to push Martinelli back to his form. If not pushing him, oust him, because even he's had a setback in the last couple of seasons now, and it's a bit concerning there. But the striker is what we desperately need.
Yeah.
If we can have two options, a plan A and a plan B, then teams don't know what they're getting, especially if they play for the height of similar qualities. They don't know what they're getting from match day to from one week to the next, basically.
Yeah.
And with the rotation, with rotation, because of Champions League, this new format, it'll give what they're given both that game time they want, but also the respite at the same time, so they're not overdoing it and running themselves into the ground and seeing what we've been seeing for the last 4 years nearly in both men and women's game, the
Yeah.
ACLs. Because that's for me, that's getting out of control. But yeah.
Yeah. I think you make a good point a bit about having those different options, like a plan A and a plan B, because I think as well, like we can be quite predictable at times. Like, I
Mm.
mean, I know we might say Saka's predictable, but he's sort of one of the ones that's really trying for us. So I feel like you can't blame him for that. But we are becoming quite predictable, I think, and I think it's good to switch things up in the attack and bring new players in. I think we've definitely got to do that, and I'm really, really hoping, whether that's January. I do think in January we do have to bring someone in, whether that's a winger, a difference maker, or whatever. But we do know our future. We needed a striker. I mean, I really wanted a striker in the summer. Obviously, I'm happy with the players we have. I'm happy with, I love Calafiori. I think he's amazing. And I think Marino is someone that I would probably give time to judge him. I mean, I wanted to ask you a bit about Sterling because, I mean, for me, it seems a bit like Arteta's using him as a squad player, as sort of like a cup. When those cup games, he only gets those minutes then. But obviously, from what I've seen, like he's not really scored a lot of goals for us. I mean, I know he's helped in certain ways, but what have you made of him being at Arsenal? I know it's a loan, so I suppose if it doesn't really go to plan, he will be leaving anyway.
Well, when it was again, like I said just a few minutes ago, that wasn't part of our plan. Even Edu said it wasn't part of our plan to bring Sterling. He wasn't on our list initially. It came about. They jumped on it. But
Yeah,
for me, when it was announced, I thought, even though even though he's coming from Chelsea and this, that, and the other, he's adding experience into the squad, Champions League and a winning mentality again, because he's come from, taking the Chelsea side for the last couple of years out of the equation for a second. He came from Man City as well under Pep, and he worked with Arteta, so he knows what Arteta will want in terms of training on a day-to-day basis, the demands he would have. So I didn't see the problem with it at all. And obviously, it's squad depth. I didn't expect him to be playing week in, week out, game in, game out, starting left, right, and centre. I didn't expect any of that. But I did expect him to, when he does play, to actually show us something a bit more than what he has done.
yeah,
The only time he's sort of shown us a glimpse of something was Preston, and even then, he missed a couple of opportunities that on another day he might have scored. But I would like to see a bit more rotation of seeing him. I know we couldn't use him that last one because he was on
yeah,
loan from the parent club, but it's an interesting one. Only Arsenal and Arteta knows why they're not using him as much as they should be or would be. But it was clearly because we left everything ourselves in terms of outgoings in the last minute. That situation arose. They obviously Arsenal didn't jump
yeah,
on it, bring him in again. Experience, yes. Winning mentality, yes. It's just
yeah,
we need to see more. We can't just have him as a cheerleader in the background off the pitch. We need him to actually contribute. If
yeah,
we're serious about winning titles, you can't just have one person going, hi. We've got two of them already in Zinchenko and Jesus, effectively, especially
yeah.
Zinchenko.
Yeah, it's a weird one with Sterling because, like, whether or not we agreed with him coming, I think a lot of us probably expect him to have a bit more minutes in the league. I mean, I don't
Mm.
really think he's a starter, but maybe 20 minutes in the game. But I think it's so tough because, like you said, we're not really seeing much from him. I mean, even in like the games against Preston or the games we've had in the lower leagues, you think that could help him with his confidence. He's not really done an awful lot there as well. And perhaps Arteta's thinking, if he's not taking this opportunity, then he doesn't really want to give him that chance. But it doesn't. It's really hard because like when you look at our substitutes, Trossard, most of the time he will come on and make a difference, but we don't really have many difference makers off the bench as well, and that's a big problem at the moment
Yeah,
for us. And I think with Sterling, I know we couldn't play in the other game, but against Chelsea, but I think if he came on, I don't think he would have like done too much anyway. But I think if we'd brought a striker in with Sterling, I think fans might have felt a bit more excited because
yeah,
we've got a few options. But yeah, I mean, I think it was probably like a last minute thing here. I just wanted to read that Lucas comment. Sterling's rubbish, not good enough for me. I personally think Sterling was wasteful in transfer window. We're waiting for the window just to sign Sterling. The January window, we need a striker in the midfield. Yeah, I mean, I think with the January transfer window, I don't think we'll go big in that, to be honest with you. I just think we might add a little something to help us throughout the season. But
yeah.
it's a tough one. Salah cost 45 million, one of the best right wingers the Premier League has ever seen. Yeah, I mean, do you know, it's weird about prices, to be honest with you, because like
Mm.
if we went out to get Isaac, I wouldn't be bothered how much we spend. I just think as long as we're bringing in the right players, I think that's all that matters, really.
Well, that's my mindset as well in terms of like with Declan Rice. Everyone's going, oh, West at the time. Oh, West Ham have had a cyber, da 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 da. But I don't care. As long as he comes in,
Yeah,
does a job, and longevity wise, we produce something from it. It's not our money.
yeah,
People that
yeah,
own the club,
exactly. Like we're not paying.
don't
Yeah,
worry about let them worry about it. It's not the be all and end all. And people sort of need to sort of take, when players are linked. Not everyone in the world that's linked to us comes to us. People need to remember that one as well. But if it's Isaac, if you want the best, you've got to pay the money these days, especially if you're going from one Premier League club to another, because
yeah,
because of the Premier League money they get anyway from TV companies and all that, they don't need to sell them for like 45 mil. The reason why Salah was 45 because he was coming from a different league, so obviously
yeah,
there wasn't the selling club wasn't strengthening the rival in terms of domestically. Whereas as we see nowadays, all these Premier League clubs want to do this. That's an insult to Walcott, by the way. I've just seen that comment from Luca. That's an insult to Walcott. That's all I'm saying. I think that's what I was saying now. But basically, yeah, it's just, Premier League clubs are going to overdo it in terms of
yeah,
asking for us because, as far as they're concerned, they're strengthening us. They want to get something more than just a few quid out of it. That's going to help them in the long term. Look at West Ham. The 100 mil, that 100 mil they got, they went out and got 5 players. I think 4 of them are still obviously all players up for us, but all the others are still there. Even what is it? The one talking about West Ham, Kudos. I'll take him in the winter window.
yeah. I think
There's,
we've
there's rumblings about him not being happy at West Ham. But go and get him. That'll be a
yeah,
kick up Martinelli's backside that he needs. But I will say to
yeah.
Luca, Walcott's got over 100 goals for his club. Don't
Walcott,
insult
yeah,
Walcott.
that's disrespect to Walcott. That, yeah, Walcott was a very good player. Arsenal being cheap, six and getting downgrades like Sterling. The problem is, like you mentioned, a good point. Sterling is a very experienced player. I know that
Hmm.
if we bought him maybe a few years ago, then I'd feel a bit more
That easy
confident.
sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like when the Euros were on, a few years back, he was doing good then. So maybe
Hmm.
we've bought him at a wrong time. But I obviously we know he's a player now, and we just got to hope that things can improve for him. And I
Even if it,
think, yeah, go on.
even if it doesn't work out, we've got the club financially got the best end of the deal because we only pay 100k of his wages.
Yeah,
Chelsea paid over 300, over 200 or 300 plus of these wages. They pay themselves, so we only pay 100k out of his wages. We didn't pay a loan fee or nothing. All
yeah,
we've spent is 100k, guys. 100k for a loan for a season. It's not the I get people's frustrations, but again, it's lastminute.com because they left their selling to the last minute. They could only deal with what they had at the last minute.
yeah. And I think as well with Reece Nelson, he went on loan, and I think we've not
Yeah,
really, if we fall short, Saka's injured, then we're in big trouble there. So I think the club had to do anything, and I think at that point, you take Stone then because we didn't, we were quite bad at that. We left it to the end. I want before we go on now to speak about the
Mm.
women's team, I just wanted to quickly get your thoughts a bit about Edu. Obviously, we heard the news,
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere. But what was your thoughts on this? Were you surprised about what happened?
Initially, yes, because as I say, it just came out of the blue one morning. We're like
Yeah,
at 8:30, something at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was just like breaking news. I was thinking, I'll wait till David Ornstein and all that. A couple of hours
yeah,
later,
so
everything
official.
else. I was like, okay, what's going on here? There's something more deep. We've done more digging, and it was basically he wasn't happy because when Vinay left, when announced he was leaving, he was hoping he would get given the opportunity to take over from Vinay.
Yeah,
And obviously went to Richard Garlick in the end, and he doesn't. He just apparently he just wasn't happy about it. Put it that way. They do a bit more digging. It then turns out, in the aftermath of that, he's then he's putting his figures out. People reaching out to him. And he's not saying no. So I say to the people reaching out or the person reaching out from Nottingham Forest, the owner, in the summer, which then concerns me. And obviously at the time when it was rumoured, Edu and the Forest owner was like, no, nothing in it. It's all paper talk, nothing, quash. And obviously, fast forward a few months, here we are. So that tells me that Edu wasn't committed to the club back in the summer. So for me, if he wasn't committed and he was looking to go elsewhere, i.e., to do what he's doing now, why stick around? Why waste everyone's time? Because that you could argue that has had an effect on our window in terms of incomings. Because obviously you've got a sporting director that's looking who's trying to do business with a club he's currently at, but he's long term thinking elsewhere. And he's not again.
yeah,
Another thing to add is he gives all. He's been given up till then. He's given all the talk about obviously wanting to win things as part of this process to win things of Arsenal and Arteta and prove everyone wrong. But the first time he doesn't get something his way, he's out of here, and that doesn't. For again, because I grew up from watching him play week in week out for the club. I'm lucky enough in that sense. This is a double winning invincible from what part of the legendary Arsenal team from the early 2000s. He claims to love the club, but he's behaved and done what he's done. Doesn't it sort of leaves a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest.
yeah.
I'm actually happy that Arsenal have actually stuck it to him and said, okay, you're gone. Technically, you're gone, but you can't go straight away to your new job for another 6 months. Off you go.
Yeah, do you know what? It's weird because I heard that and I thought, that's came out of nowhere, but I didn't feel sad about it, to be honest with you, because I think like we've made some great signings. I think the most of our signings have been, amazing, but I think we have had a few ones that haven't been too good. And I think to be honest, potentially is he leaving, for money, does he like you make a good point, does he love Arsenal as much as we think? I mean, I think it's different him as a player, I think, obviously I didn't watch him a bit young, but
Mm,
I think you can have that respect for him, love him as a player, but you can have a different opinion about him with the role he had at Arsenal. I think it's
mm,
two different roles he had. So I think, like you said, you can love him as a player, but think maybe he didn't do a good job as director or have opinion on that. But I think it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But sometimes changes are good to happen, and we'll just have to see how it goes from there. And I thought we could chat a bit about the women's team as well,
yeah.
because obviously things started to look up for us, and I wanted to just speak a bit about. Obviously, I won't speak on this for the whole thing, but obviously Jonas has left, and for me, like it was such a relief. Like
I'm so happy.
I've really wanted him to do well. I've really tried to believe in him, but I think for me, like I think when we drew with Everton and that big, loss in the Champions League, I just think we all came to a point where we had enough, and now we're seeing us play with so much freedom on the pitch. I mean, I don't think the club would have sacked him. Obviously, he did make that decision to leave himself because I think as fans, he was under a lot of pressure, wasn't he? But
Mm.
yeah, just tell me your thoughts on that and how happy you felt, really.
When I got that, when I woke up to that news when it was announced he left, not of his own accord, the relief. Oh my day! Because it was on a Tuesday. It was the day before we played the Champions League match day 2 game against I can't remember the Norway team we got in our group. So me and Liam, who was chatting over the weekend, previous after the Chelsea game that weekend, and saying if he's not gone by Monday, he's in for Champions League game and onwards and this, that, and the other. They're going to push it out to the international break. So to hear that news come through, I was like, I'm so relieved because it was, with all due respect, you want them to do well. Yes, we won 2 Conti Cups, but for a club like Arsenal, even at the women's level, that's not good enough. And for the time he's been there, he got us close to 1 league title in his first season.
Yeah.
And 1 defeat sort of cost us there. But we never really kicked on. In the second season, you could make the excuse for him because of obviously Beth getting her ACL, then Viv. 2 of his main parts of his attack went, like within the space of a few weeks of each other. Then later on down the line, you're losing the vice captain in Leah Williamson and Laura Vitt for ACLs as well. And another academy girl gets an ACL. And then Kim got an injury, and it was just
so much.
So you can make the excuses that parts of his big bulk of his spine basically was already taken out from ACLs or other injuries, etc. for the second season, and to turn it around to win a trophy and semi-final of the Champions League and get us back into the Champions League in terms of the top Champions League spots for the following season, is like, okay, let's see what you can do when the players come back, get a few more signings in, see what you do. For obviously last season, and the last season start, we got Russo in, obviously Condena, all these other players in as well. We didn't have Beth back at this point, or Viv there a couple of months. There was just a couple of months shy of getting ready to go, and again making the excuses because World Cup finished, and then a week later we're playing qualifying for Champions League, which is ridiculous. So we all made the excuse, it's lack of fatigue in terms of the fitness is not right. They're tired. It's from one part of the world to the other. But then the season started, and then the signs were just there, and I'm just like, Liverpool at home, we shouldn't be losing. We lost that, and there seemed to be no response from that. This is last season, losing to Tottenham for the first time in our women's history.
That was a bad watch. Yeah,
I'm sitting there thinking, no, this can't be happening. No, it was that big. As you know, in the UK, for the rest of that weekend and for the next few days after, it's been reported on the major news, on BBC News, Sky News, even not just Sky Sports, but in the actual news itself, channels and segments. It was that big that Tottenham actually beat us. And then we lose to West Ham. Obviously, as I say, we weren't in Champions League, but we had a big enough squad to do well in the league, but we just weren't. We was out the title race before it even started, really. But the signs were there, and something wasn't right. And then obviously players, Beth came back, Viv came back, Leah came back, Laura eventually came back as well throughout the season. They're all some of my sides, I'm going on a bit. And then you think, okay, cool. Especially Viv comes back, and then about 4 or 5 games in, scores that wonder strike against Liverpool, which is huge for her. And you could tell by the celebration, because normally when she scores, for anyone who doesn't know, when she scores, she doesn't really celebrate. She's like, okay, let's go, get the ball, let's go. She actually celebrated the goal. That's how much it meant to her, and how much the ACL and that whole mentally done to her to actually make her celebrate and open up basically in the middle of the pitch like that. You think, okay, cool. And then suddenly, Viv just disappears off the face of the earth. And then at this time, this is at a time when we're told nothing of why she's not in the matchday squad, this, that, and the other. And then the international break comes along, the last one for last season, and we hear just before from Jonas that Viv's had a setback. She's needed to have surgery. We haven't let her have surgery yet because we're going to let her go to international football, play for her country, even though we know she needs surgery, and she'll have the surgery afterwards, and she might be back for the final, which she wasn't, by the way. And then we didn't see until Everton away again, which is concerning. And then that whole aftermath of that blowout, and the clips we all saw, and then that situation then unfolds by the announcement that she's leaving, and then that needless. That one sense it wasn't needless because it obviously rammed home because then he got a response from Jonas publicly about the whole situation, somewhat from his point of view anyway. That game went to Australia. The abuse I did watch on for that game. The abuse he got from the home crowd when he came on the screen was something else. I've never seen it ever. And then, say, pre-season comes along, and you could tell straight away something's not right. Taking the equation that Beth and Viv date each other still,
Yeah.
Something wasn't right. Certain players just weren't turning up and performing for him in terms of,
Yeah.
but playing for their manager, if you will. Like they're down tools, and it's clear as day. And that's in pre-season into the qualifying for Champions League and all that you could see. And then the season starts, and it was an absolute disaster.
Yeah. It
From our
was.
standards, it was an absolute disaster. And as I say, I'm relieved he's gone. And Rene, I wasn't sure because obviously she was his assistant, so I wasn't sure how long, how well she would do. But the girls have taken to her.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't know what that. Again, they've been very tight-lipped about what the plan is in terms of long term.
Mm.
But whilst it's going good, keep them in the job.
Yeah.
Give it interim till the season at the very least. See how the season goes. If we win a couple of trophies, fantastic, and then reassess it come May. Because what don't if it doesn't need fixing at the moment, why then add something that overcomplicates something? We don't need to because the girls. It seems the girls are happy that suddenly. If they've got the honest stank off them, the girls that weren't performing are now performing. We just won 4-0 midweek against Juventus in the Champions League. So we've sorted out our goal difference now after match day 1 against Bayern. And was it Brighton 5-0 as well, 5 different goal scorers. So the goals are now coming. Well, the goals weren't coming under Jonas at the start of the season. It was very once in the blue moon, basically. The goals are now coming from all over the pitch now. The girls are happy. Renee seems happy. So again, she has that connection with the club because she was an academy. It turns out she was an academy. I didn't know this at the time, but she's an academy player from one of her playing days. So she knows what it means for the club and the fans as well. So again, whilst it's good, I'd keep her in the job.
Yeah.
I know she said that coming back after an international break last time, sorry, that she's going to remain in charge until the next one. But just the club needs to come out and say why. It's obviously why we're doing well.
Mm.
Just come out. Either wait till the international break. Want to wait till then, but come out and say we're still searching. Renee's got a chance. She's in the mix as well because of how well she's
Yeah.
done. She's in the mix as well. But she's got the whole season with this team, and we'll come back to you in May, basically, or June, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at the moment, I think it would be silly to, not just get rid of her, but to you could really see, like you said, that the team have really built, a connection with her. And like Beth B was saying, she's a breath of fresh air playing under her. And you could see the football that we're playing. It's sort of
Mm,
Arsenal a few seasons back when Jonas came. You could see
mm,
we were playing some exciting football. And I think, maybe she's not really, our future, for the next few years, but maybe
mm,
give her a chance for the season or until we found the correct, manager. Because I think we're at the point now where we do have to bring the right person here. Because obviously, I think we all know Chelsea and Man City are ahead of us at the moment. We're in the league. I mean, I
mm,
know if we faced them in a cup game, I think the team would be up for it, and we could give them a good go. But I think with the league, I think it's probably not too likely we can win it. I mean, I'm not saying we won't win it, but I know with women's football, it's
mm,
you don't play each other as much and it's shorter. So I
yeah.
think things are different. But with Jonas touching on that, I think, like you said before, you felt like the team, a few players started to stop playing for him. I mean, I always believed the team were trying to play for the badge and for us fans, but do you feel like he lost the dressing room towards the end?
Yeah, I think results last season itself were playing a part. But again, I've said this on my channel numerous times at the start of this season. We don't know exactly. Only they, Viv, him, and the people, the players, and all that are there, know exactly what's gone down between him and Viv.
Yeah.
There's more to it than what we're being told. I'm telling you, because the way that all came about, the way that he himself only came out publicly and said something was in the aftermath of being abused in Australia by the Arsenal fans over there for that game. And then in the aftermath of that, the way that certain players just down tools on him. They weren't playing for him, and even when they got
Yeah.
subbed off, they weren't going over, hugging him, high fiving or nothing. It was very hostile. You
Mm.
could tell something's gone down, and we will never know until book's released, whenever that may be down
Yeah.
the line. But something more than what the club and all that. The club, everyone's trying to be professional, and even Vivid to this point, and fair play in terms of not exposing whatever's gone down. But something's clearly gone down. We all saw the clip after from the Everton game. She was about to come on, and then he exchanges words with her. Then there's a bit of a spat between the two, and then a few days later, it's announced that she's leaving.
It was quite bad that when you saw
It's,
that.
as I say, I just couldn't put my finger on it at the time, but you could tell something weren't right because there's players we know week in, week out that perform for the Arsenal to a high level, never let anything get them down. Just weren't they weren't performing.
I
And
mean,
then you add Leah Williams' comments in the aftermath of that international break, saying it's good to be out of that environment. And in this one now, and then since then things have sort of got better with us.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one really because I was really, rooting for Jonas, and I think there was a point where, I really liked him, the manager, but I think, like you said, we only ever challenged one season. And I know we got to the FA Cup final, but we never did that again. Like, I think it would have been different if we'd have if we'd been challenging season after season, but obviously we weren't doing that. I know that season we had the ACLs, like you said, you can't really have a go at him. I think that
No,
was
and
season.
that's what I was saying
Yeah.
before in terms of you could excuse him and give him last season, but it was just like things just weren't right
Yeah.
there.
I think last season we knew it would be a bit, tough with the players coming back from their injury, but I think the start of the season was just terrible. I mean, do you know that when we played Chelsea at the Emirates, I mean, I know
Mm.
the second half was better and that was good and that, but there just didn't seem to be much fight from the team for the manager. And I think we sort of knew it was going to happen sooner or later. And yeah, I think obviously we're at a really good stage right now. They got Victor. I think when they should manage the end of the season, then evaluate and decide that. Yeah, I think that would be the right thing to do, really, because
Yeah,
we want the right person to come in and to help us, get a step further to, you know, and maybe we won't be there now, but to maybe win a Champions League or to get to that level, which we can do, because obviously you see Chelsea getting there, and we're good
we've
as a
done it, by the
team.
way.
Yeah,
We
we've
have
done it
done it.
before. Yeah, so we're able to do it. It's just about, I think, having a manager that can get the best out of these players, because we've got a very, very good squad. I wanted to read out this question as well. Do you two feel like being a manager now is a lot harder than being a manager in the 90s, let's say, due to social media and people's opinions being shared more? What do you think about that? Because obviously it's hard for me to answer that.
Yeah, certain people on this platform, especially nowadays, not saying names, but in terms of being a manager, it's completely different in terms of the roles, and like the role of a manager in the 90s was not what it says in the tin. A manager, you're not just you don't manage a team, but you have to obviously get involved in the behind the scenes stuff and talk to your people, talk to whoever your link was between the board and the club and the squad about your transfers and all that, and who was in charge of transfers. This is the list. Boom. At Arsenal, we had a very unique thing back in the 90s when Wenger came along with David Dean. Where David Dean will say, yes, Arsene Wenger's the manager, but the title was manager. But he also took every window, he says in his book and every window in the summer, end of every season, he goes, Arsene, go enjoy your holiday, whatever it is. Give me a list. Who do you want? Who do you need and who do you want? Give me a list. I'll take it note of it. I'll go off and do what I've got to do. I'll bring him in. You don't have to do nothing. Just worry about getting some respite, come back for pre-season, and we'll see you again in a couple of months' time. Whereas, as time went on, that wasn't the case. And obviously, when David Dean left, I'm coming from the Arsenal point of view. When David Dean left, obviously everything got put on Arsenal because he was still at the title of manager.
Yeah.
He took on the role of David Dean, and when he then instead of getting that respite, he obviously needed every season to season. He weren't getting that, and he wasn't then focusing why he needed to be focused on the team. That's why you now get the titles of head coach instead of a manager. So their title is head coach. You go and focus on the players. We've got other people doing it now.
Yeah.
So it has changed a lot, and I think again, you mentioned social media, and obviously we do on YouTube and all that as well. That it does have a head coach or manager role, whatever your role is in the football. We see it in our own fan base with certain people they're never happy. Not naming names, but they're never happy. And they will always have that platform where they can use it to batter someone over the head in terms of, for example, a club, not saying names, would hire a manager with no experience or whatever. Certain people would say, not my manager, not my head coach, or whatever. Don't
Yeah.
want him, get him out before he's even done a job. And when he does do a job and does a decent, again, it took him a couple of years, but for the last, well, from my point of view, for the last, it's our third season now of competing out of 5. But we need 5, 6 years he's been with us. 5 years he's been with us, hasn't he? Or been 5
Yeah.
years. For now 3 full seasons we're competing. You can't say there's no improvement, but they want everything. People want, not everyone, certain people want to believe football is still like the 90s, where it's just you haven't had, they completely black out that we haven't had a Ross and Odegaard take over Chelsea and completely change football for what we see nowadays. Or a couple of years later, the Man City ownership, we've got Newcastle ownership trying to do what Man City did, but they can't because of restraints. But as I say, my point is people are forgetting all this, and they're thinking it is like the 90s still, where it is everyone's fighting for the top spot. Basically, you've got that one dominant team, but it's not like they're run by a state. Clubs weren't run by states before. We've got 2 clubs in this league run by states. We did have one of us and Odegaard, but obviously because of certain situations that's been outed, and they've got an American ownership like ourselves. You've got American owners, you've got other foreign owners as well in these clubs. It's not even local owners now of these clubs. Things have changed massively. And it's so much harder for us. I know we've been 21 years now coming into this season with no league title itself. But it's not like it was back then, where this drought we've had wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for the financial side of things from a Russian oligarch or a state run, an entire state buying a club. We wouldn't be waiting this long. It wouldn't be this hard, but it is that hard, and we have to adapt to it. And we're slowly but surely we're competing. We just need to get over that line. And I've said it a couple of weeks back, and I was waiting outside at the Emirates to meet Dennis Bergkamp. To a few fans are saying we do need to. I don't care what it is this season. It doesn't have to be the league. Win us a trophy. Get this squad of players over the line and believing they can do it. Because it's that first trophy for this club, for this squad, that will have them believing. And then if it's Carbo Cup, it gets them believing and they kick on. Fantastic. But we do need a trophy.
Yeah, that's got to be a priority this season. I mean, I know we want the league title, but you said before as well, we've got a great chance to get that. The Carabao Cup. I mean, an FA Cup would be great to win as well. I mean, I think our team is good enough to do that as well. I think we should always believe we can do that. I mean, the Champions League, probably not there yet, but I think, like you said, as long as we're going to win silverware this season, I think that's going to be the priority. Personally, Arsenal have been better than City this season. Liverpool, on the other hand, Liverpool are probably the best. It's hard with City because when we played them at the start and, we nearly got that win, like, we were so much better and we did so amazing. But I think because they've fallen off, like you said about Rodri, and we're sort of going through a rough patch at the moment, I think it's hard to judge, really. I mean, I think when we play City, I think we can work them out, and we know that. I think Liverpool, obviously, at the moment are the best, in the league at the moment, but it's going to be a long season. But I think you'd rather be in Liverpool's position right now, but we'll definitely have to see. Yeah, it'd be nice to be in your position. I mean, I do think Liverpool will drop points along the way. I just don't think they'll drop as many as we need them to for us to, But I know we do play Liverpool, Anfield. I mean, it'd be hard to get a win there, but we also have Man City. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. But Liverpool got some tough fixtures. We've got City coming up. I don't know to support that one. I don't know. We're complete neutrals. So who do we want to win that one?
Yeah,
is a nil-nil draw the best result for us? But it's going to be interesting. It's a long season there. There's only 11 again for the men. It's only 11 games in league-wise. It's not over. It's not over yet, as I say.
Yeah.
If we fall further behind, then obviously, yeah, just focus on the cups and obviously do what we can in Champions League in terms of how far we can get and do format as well. But yeah, just win us something. But in terms of the league, it'd be fantastic to win it.
Yeah.
But we made it hard for ourselves. But Liverpool doing it. This is what we're seeing from Liverpool this season so far. Obviously, it's so far. You could say managers bouncing this, that, and the other, whatever. But what we're seeing of them is what we saw of Liverpool under Klopp when they won
Yeah.
it back in the COVID pandemic and all that, whatever you call it, that asterisk season it turned out to be. But in the sense of they're just on it. Van Dijk's like a fucking brick wall. Salah's on. Salah's got
Yeah.
10 goals, 10 assists already this season. It's mental, and
Yeah. They're at the
That's
best,
what we're
really.
competing with. And to be the best, you've got to go up against these clubs and knock off their perch. And we just got fingers crossed. One thing we don't want is City winning it again. City
Yeah.
fans, this thing with City fans saying, "Oh, we win it for the good of football." No, anyone else winning it, but bar Man City is for the good of football.
Yeah.
Liverpool, if Arsenal or Liverpool win it, I know Liverpool won it recently, but when we win the titles, we've done it the right way. We haven't had a state run our club, respectively either. We've both got American owners. We've had to work within our means and get ourselves to the point of competing and getting a good enough squad to compete with City. Sorry, and we haven't got 115 charges against us. Just saying.
It's a tough
We're
one.
not. We're not,
Yeah.
us and Liverpool have been accused of cheating.
Yeah. It's a tough one really because if Liverpool win it this season, it's like they've overtaken us again when we should really be
Mm.
the
This
ones.
that's
But I know
the
every season, teams gonna get better. I knew this season Liverpool would get better because I know
that's
they've not
the
really. They've been.
sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say that's the one thing for Arteta though. If Slot was to come in and win it in his first attempt,
Yeah.
that wouldn't go down with certain people in our fan base, no matter what we then do ourselves.
I think, like you said, I think if Arteta wins something this season, then I think he- he'll still get my support. But I think if
Mm.
we go the season without winning something, then I think it's fine for fans to question things because,
Yeah,
like you said, he's been here for about 5 years now and won FA Cup, a few Community Shields, and I think this season I think we could win an FA Cup. I think we could win the Carrow Cup, but I think even if we do that, I think we've still got to relatively have a good position in the league. I mean, if
yeah,
we finish third, I would be a bit disappointed, but it's a tough one. But I think, like you said, and like people saying here, it's far from over yet, and we've got to see how it goes. It's a very, very long season, and I'm just hoping after the international break, things do get better. But Ryan, I wanted to thank you for coming on today. It's been great to have you on. And do you want to tell people where they can find you?
yeah. In terms of the YouTube on YouTube, you can find me at the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Simple as to type it into the search engine, it find you. We do watch longs on there for both the men and women. We do a weekly show called the El Smugger and G show or Arsenal show. It covers both teams in terms of reviewing how things are going week to week. We've got other stuff that we usually do as well in terms of EAFC content and all that. But our host there for that show is had a bit of a scare recently health wise. He's coming back in the next couple of weeks, so we'll have that back in a few weeks' time. But yeah, we just keep ourselves busy. We do match of the day stuff as well, but watch songs and podcasts basically, and mainly all things Arsenal. Occasionally we do a neutral stuff, things like that.
Yeah,
I'm doing my North London derby watch along tomorrow afternoon for the
yeah, that'd
WSL,
be a good
and
game.
Sunday England versus Ireland in the Nations League. I'm English, and for anyone that doesn't know, by the way, I'm obviously English, I've got the accent. Born in England, but I've got immediate Irish bloodline, Scottish and Welsh. So it's England versus Ireland. I'm doing a watch along on Sunday. I can't lose really.
Yeah,
I'm
that.
covered, but I
I
might be
love.
doing that as well. But yeah, we do a bit of everything really over there. But it's a lot of fun, and again, we don't overreact.
Mm.
If you want overreaction, fair
Yeah,
enough. But as it's very calm and collected. But yeah,
yeah, that's great, and it's great to see you do so much, different stuff, and it's great as well. I mean, I do women's, stuff on the Arsenal women's team, and it's nice to see, other fans do that as well, because I know most people don't do both, so it
yeah,
really is nice to see that.
Yeah,
And
even it's sorry to interrupt, but even now it's bizarre to me that even now with the success from the Euros that the girls won, that more channels don't do
yeah,
women's content. It's very bizarre. We all talk about the growth and all that, but certain channels, bigger channels than us,
yeah.
still don't do any women's content. And they get a fleeting passing comment if we win something.
Yeah, I feel like as well, like you said, and me, and obviously, I don't really watch a lot of. I mean, I try to watch both the men and the women's. Don't watch, tons of the academy. I do try
Mm.
to when I can, but I think most fans. I mean, a lot of fans now would like to watch the Arsenal women's team, and a lot of people might not be able to watch the games, but they still like to get to see how Arsenal women are getting on. And I think
Yeah,
it's nice to see, people doing updates, reviews on the game, just so people can check that, because I know not everyone can watch the games, but I do think it would be nice to see more teams do, and more fans, not just Arsenal but other fan channels as
mm.
well, doing stuff on that. But yeah, I love that you do that as well. Ryan's channel is here, guys, if you want to do subscribe over. But yeah, guys, thank you all so much for watching this today. It's been so much fun having you on. Ryan, we'll definitely have to do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, please do like this video, do subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Ryan's as well, and we'll see you very soon. Bye, guys.